back to my channel, Micah Let's Play, and guess who I am? I'm Micah, peering to you from beyond the veil. I know, that shit was fire. Anywho, oh my god, guess what? IGN is back with another one of their firsts, and I'm here for it. Okay, so today, guys, we're going to be watching the exclusive first hands-on review from Dragon Age the Veilguard. And one, I'm really excited to see this. Today is one of those days where I'm doing a lot of recording, so it's like really late. And I'm loud. I'm pretty sure my neighbors are like, really? Do you know what hour it is? And I say, yeah, I do. I got shit to do. So with all that said, we're going to watch this. We're going to react to it. We're going to talk about it. And I'm here for it, y'all. I hope you are too. So with that said, after we watch this, we are going to have a little discussion based on whatever they show or whatever they say. So yeah, so let's get this started. Let me grab my controller and we're just going to do this like now.
It's been 10 long years since Dragon Age Inquisition, and the expectations for the next game in the series, Dragon Age the Veilguard, seem impossible. A full decade, a bevy of behind-the-scenes changes, and an interesting start to its marketing campaign made me a little worried for my most highly anticipated game of the year.
I admire you. What you've been through would break most people.
This is
but
true.
One of my biggest concerns, based on early previews, was that it could be headed in the direction of being a linear action game rather than its more open-world predecessor. While Dragon Age is known for changing its style with each installment, I hoped dearly that it wouldn't lose too much of the DA DNA I fell in love with.
Okay, that's
After
fair.
hours of hands-on time spread across 2 days, I'm pleased to say that I walked away with excitement and curiosity, but mostly relief to waive many of those concerns goodbye.
That is so cool. I really like the way this Rook looks. I think she looks so cool. Okay, so this is their hands-on preview.
My time with the Veilguard covered a wide smattering of things, including the incredibly expansive character creator, the introductory quests, a faction mission, and a companion quest a little deeper into the game.
Okay.
But I was mostly pleased with my ability to just explore Northern Thedas and all its gorgeously designed glory, experiencing a setting in Dragon Age lore that we've really only heard about. To be clear, the Veilguard isn't the open-world playground that Inquisition was.
Right.
As game director Corinne Bush has previously stated, it's more mission-based.
Right.
But what impressed me after the first few hours was how much exploration can still be done in the various regions, as well as the impact the player character, Rook, can have on those regions.
I love
there
it.
we go. Easy. Wow, isn't that something?
Consider it something of a mix of DragonAge 2 and Inquisition. The more streamlined approach of the former with the geographically and socio-politically diverse world of the latter.
Right. I like that. I'm glad they're mixing the two.
Of course, some of the bigger art style, combat, and gameplay changes will be subject to personal taste.
True.
But after my time with the Veilguard, I left feeling like these 10 long years just might have been worth the wait. As fans have already seen from the first gameplay trailer, players are dropped right into the city of Minrathous in the middle of the action as Solus prepares a ritual that will devastate Thedas. Luckily, our old friend Varric has recruited you to help, and it barely takes a couple of minutes for the game to put the focus on Rook.
Whoa, look at her hair! Like the animation. Hell yeah, Rook!
After a surprisingly concise story recap from Varric, there are a number of aspects the Veilguard starts easing you into.
Right. Oh, that's like for new players. That makes sense.
For one, the combat. Gone are the days of Dragon Age Origins' more CRPG-inspired tactical system, offering a style that's a mix of quick action and a mechanic where you can pause and pull up your radial menu. While this absolutely does take some getting used to, and it'll be a gradual process to create what could be a highly customized build while learning all your companions' different abilities, it didn't take me long to actually start having fun with it. I largely played mage and rogue builds during my hands-on time, and also quickly started to lean on certain companions' abilities. For one, the mage healing ability was essential. For one particularly difficult remnant, I basically established a pattern where I was only using Balara's mana to heal me, dodging and playing it safe when it got too risky.
I like that.
Nev's ability to slow time was also one I kept returning to, offering a bit more control on the battlefield when the situation got a little too fast-paced.
Nice. That's good to hear. So that means we're gonna have a good
And for you
time
glass
with the
cannon builds
combat.
out there, you'll want to have a warrior around to taunt your enemies out of your way.
Nice.
I did it, Davrin.
No problem.
I love
Like a
it.
whole lot in the Veilguard, combat revolves around your companions, even though you can't fully take control of them like in previous Dragon Age games.
Good night, Canary.
Different companions have different combo options together, and there are certainly opportunities to build team synergy. Oh, and you'll want to listen to your companions in combat too,
Okay.
as they'll occasionally drop some useful hints.
Whoa, that was pretty
But
cool.
combat aside, your dialogue choices, your Rook's background, and the frequent decisions you make are immediately important. Which
I
shouldn't
like
be
that.
too surprising for fans of BioWare games.
True.
The dialogue wheel is back, of course.
Of course.
As is the approval-disapproval system.
Yeah.
We haven't got a lot of time. Varric said you had a lead on Solus.
Looks so good.
You get right to the
She
point.
looks so good.
But I was
Can we
surprised to see that
romance
the
her?
Veilguard actually explains the consequences of some of your dialogue choices in very clear terms.
Oh,
See,
look what it says
say
on the
that.
side.
It's a variation of the so-and-so will remember that system,
Right.
but more specific.
But we do have Nev's location now, so...
Take, for example, my first confrontation with
That
Solus,
Canary is
aka
beautiful. I
Fen'Harel,
love
aka
her
the Dreadwolf.
makeup.
I chose a more sarcastic, humorous approach with him, and at the end of our confrontation, text on the side of the screen informed me that I have traded verbal jabs
Verbal
with Solus.
jabs.
This is your responsibility now.
I like that.
It was far from the only occurrence of this sort of text,
okay.
and it leaves me curious as to how your relationships with various characters
hair
will
is
build and branch out over time based on
like,
your
ah,
attitude. Speaking of
good.
consequences, it quickly became clear to me that there would consistently
Yes,
be
choose
tons of
love.
choices in the Veilguard that'll have lasting results. It probably sounds like I'm
kinda
stating the
grows
obvious
on
here,
you.
but
So
I got the
cute.
sense that even more of these kinds of choices might be peppered throughout than the usual
She's so
BioWare game.
beautiful.
Right at the beginning, for instance, I made a choice that led to Harding getting injured, and she was still bruised up for the remainder of the next couple hours.
wow.
I felt like a real jerk about it,
Yeah.
and that was probably the point.
Poor baby.
Dragon Age the Veilguard seemed to be telling me, right from the start, that I'm going to feel like a jerk a lot.
Gotcha.
You don't slow down for much, do you?
Without spoiling too much, you'll also be able to see some of your progression and choices in the environment around you as
Nice.
well. But once introductions were out of the way, it was time to explore the wide world of Thetis and see its past and present collide.
Nice.
Shall we?
Yeah. Oh, like that
Let's do
Veil
this.
jumping into the world. I support this. So far,
As
I'm here
mentioned
for it.
earlier, one of my biggest worries was that the Veilguard could end up being more linear in its approach,
Fine, that's
trading
fair.
branching gameplay for a straight line. And sure, the opening hours, essentially the tutorial zone, are a little railroady, save for a couple key decisions you have to make.
I mean,
but
that's
once you're
normal.
past that and more established within Act 1,
Right.
you're much more free to tackle quests as you please
Right.
as you unlock more and more regions.
Okay.
You do this via the crossroads. For those of you who aren't brushed up on your Dragon Age lore, that's a nexus between the waking world of Thetis and the metaphysical realm
look
of the
how Rook is
Fade, through which the
walking. Like,
ancient
yes,
elves would
bitch.
travel through magical
That
mirrors
armor
called
is fierce.
alluvians.
I like it.
You now use the alluvians for that same purpose,
Right.
and to unlock new regions, you have to fight through certain areas of the
I love
crossroads
the armor.
before you can
the
start
armor in
fast
this game
traveling
is
to them.
so good, and Rook looks so cool.
Unlocking said regions opens up a vast network of areas,
Nice.
and not unlike past Dragon Age
at
games,
Nev.
they're
Get him, man.
dramatically different from one another.
As the gods' champion passed freely, so will you.
Take, for example, the Arlithan
God's
Forest,
champion, huh?
a gorgeous, colorful region that mixes greenery
So
with
pretty.
elven magic. You can see nugs burrow
you
into
see how
the
she did her
grass,
wand,
magical
like she called down
artifacts
the lightning?
abound, and there's a vast array of nature to simply admire.
cannot wait
You're
to
hit with
be
a
here.
massive tone shift, however, when you head to
She's so
Hosberg.
cute. She's like a little
Lavendale
turtle with her
Village.
big shield.
Whatever happened here looks like Demeter's Crossing.
Currently under siege by the
Wait,
Blight,
that's the other
here is
Rook
where you'll
boy.
see some of the more horror-inspired aesthetics,
Which
and
I'm here
frankly,
for.
just some of the grosser aspects of the Blight.
That sounds awesome.
While the Veilguard's tone certainly
Get-
leans
oh,
more
that's
high
Emmerich!
fantasy in places like the Crossroads,
Get him, Daddy.
don't worry. Those who miss
and
the
Luke
gore and
Kenneth.
dark fantasy of Origins will find that too in places where the Blight has spread.
Thank you. Hallelujah. Somebody had to say it. I'm glad
But
they're
I
addressing
couldn't
both.
help but spend a lot of my time just running around in Treviso,
Okay.
the bustling city that's home to the Antivan
Like,
Crows
this is like
faction.
where you would
For
take
one
somebody
thing,
on a
a
date.
lively city feels like a novelty in Dragon Age.
Right.
But there was simply so much to explore that I kept getting sidetracked.
Right.
A merchant with unique items here, a new quest to pick up over there,
Right.
and a random combat encounter over there.
Right?
Kill them! Kill the Anton!
I love it.
And that's just when I wasn't looking around for a cat or dog to pet. Because yes, you can pet the cats and dogs.
Game of the year, hands down. It's
Outside
over.
of the cats and dogs, there are some unique ways to interact with the environment as well. Each companion has an environmental ability,
those are the
some of which came in
sentinel-like
quite
things.
handy for me.
I think that's
In
what
my
they call
time in
them.
the Arlethan Forest,
Right.
I frequently called upon Balara, whose environmental ability allows her to tinker with magical artifacts.
Nice.
In a nice quality of life feature, your companions don't even need to be in your party in order for you to use these abilities.
Right.
As an aside, another one of my favorite quality of life additions is the fact that party banter pauses and picks up again later if you trigger combat, a cutscene, or anything else that would interrupt their dialogue. That's right, no more awkward standing around in order to hear the complete conversation.
Right?
Yes.
Yes,
If you're feeling
Tosh,
overwhelmed,
yes.
the difficulty and accessibility options do allow for about just as much or as little hand-holding as you need.
that's what
For
I wanna
example,
hear.
with one Antivan Crow's quest I was doing, I could turn the navigation on and simply follow the game's guidance, or turn it off and look for
Yes.
clues in the environment
That's
to
what I
follow.
wanna do. I
in
just
this
wanna
case,
look
the crow's
around.
purple symbol painted on certain walls.
Right.
Another mark this way.
Okay.
I also just happened to be playing an Antivan Crow Rook while completing this quest, which led to some fun dialogue options.
We crows are all the army Antiva has, but it's not like we can field a garrison.
True.
Once I was in the thick of things, I could clearly see the features in the Veilguard that boiled down to, okay, we heard the complaints about Inquisition, specifically addressing the infamous Hinterlands problem,
Right.
which is a reference to the first open world area players visit in Inquisition.
It was a lot
The zone
to
was
do.
packed with more than 50 side quests, many of which boiled down to mere fetch quests, and it left many players drowning in a
them were really
bevy of
good.
checklists that felt inconsequential to the story.
True,
The Veilguard has
but I
boiled this down
understand
quite a lot. You're still free to explore, but the scope isn't nearly as dizzying, and the quests point back to the main story, a region or
See,
faction,
I
or a
love
companion.
that.
Another clear reaction to criticisms of Inquisition are our villains in the Veilguard,
Right.
Algernon and Gillenay.
Right.
The two elven gods feel much more present throughout the events of the early game than Corypheus, the frankly lackluster baddie of Inquisition.
Yeah.
Whatever
well,
comes,
I have things
we're
to
ready
say,
for a
but
fight.
I got you.
Words easily said, but rarely proven.
While
True.
there's a whole lot more Thedas to see and talk about, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it back home to the Lighthouse.
Lovely. I cannot.
The
wait to
lighthouse
see.
will likely be the most important location of the Veilguard,
I like
serving
the
as the hub for
relaxing
you and your
clothes.
companions. Each one of your companions has their own room, and conveniently, a light shines outside of their door when they have a cutscene available. Once you get further into Act
Oh, you see
1,
Rook
it
in the
certainly
chair.
starts to feel more lived in,
Right.
and you can discover some pretty charming
Definitely
character quirks.
cutting
For
the
example,
wood.
I found that Emmerich's skeletal assistant Manfred enjoys spending time on the balcony, and we even got a few games of rock, paper, scissors in.
I love that. That is adorable.
The lighthouse is also, obviously, where you're able to do some housekeeping,
Right.
especially when it comes to the caretaker.
Offer, dweller. I will answer.
This wildly helpful spirit is always standing by to help you enchant and upgrade armor for you and your companions.
Enchantment?
But I found the lighthouse somewhat symbolic of one of the biggest challenges this game is
see
facing.
everything.
Bringing in new players while honoring the now incredibly vast lore that Dragon Age has built across the games, comic books, short stories, and
True,
more.
true.
Basically, if you were worried that the name change from Dragon Age Dreadwolf would mean less Solus, think again. His history, along with the history of the other elven gods, is baked into the lighthouse, and you learn more and more about the threat you face as you unlock Solus's murals with
Fair.
various wolf statues. You even get to see some of his memories firsthand.
They need gods who can protect them.
We are not gods. You
Solus has hair.
As a lore nerd, I very much appreciated this, as well as the various other callbacks to series
Right.
history. The Origins fans will likely love the Grey Warden heavy quests, and we already know the Inquisitor will be involved in some way, as you can
Yes.
recreate them and select your world states in the character
Oh, I
creator.
can't wait.
But I do wonder if
What the
it'll
fuck is
overwhelm new
that?
players, which BioWare certainly seems to be courting with its action-heavy combat
shit.
system.
Yeah.
That's why it helps, at least, to have something of an outsider like Rook to take the helm of the Veilguard.
Right.
Plus, the scrappiness of Rook reminded me a bit of playing as Hawk in Dragon
Oh,
Age
yeah,
2,
yeah. Ooh,
rather than the
that's so
more
cool.
Chosen One-esque protagonists of the Warden in Origins and the Inquisitor in Inquisition.
Right.
In short, a lot's changed in Dragon Age the Veilguard, but there was so much I was relieved to see stay. The focus on companions and romance,
Oh.
the rich lore, and a gorgeous world to explore.
See, that
It
makes
goes
me
without
happy.
saying that there's still a ton of the Veilguard that I haven't seen, especially if it's as big as Origins and Inquisition.
Oh, so
and it
it's-
certainly seems like
we're
it.
gonna be-
But
oh,
after
yeah.
finishing my
Okay,
preview,
okay.
I found myself even more eager to dive into it, and much more hopeful that this could be the hit BioWare needs.
Okay. Let's stop this. Let's stop all this lovely deliciousness. Okay. So first and foremost, I am very, very, very excited about this. Real talk. One, the game just looks better and better. Let's just be honest. I know some people complain about the way the game looks. They complain about the art direction. Honestly, this game is absolutely beautiful. To any BioWare devs who may be watching or listening, oh my god. The work y'all have done. And to know that this game, in addition to this, guys, has a photo mode. Yeah, we get a photo mode with this game. It's been confirmed. I watched Kala Elizabeth, her video on it. If you have not seen it or you don't know who she is, which would be weird, which is, I guess, YouTube is a big place, but still, it's Kala Elizabeth. How could you not know her? I'm gonna put her video in the link description so you can see it for yourself. Personally speaking, I was like Kala. I was looking at the thread count in the outfits and the strands in hair. I was like, damn. And then you see them hair fixes. Again, to any BioWare dev who's watching this, outstanding. A round of applause. Honestly, I think what they did with the hair, I've never seen another game do that. Real talk. What they did was truly innovative, and I can't wait to see more game companies rinse and repeat what they did. You know, like, for real, for real. They need an award on that hair physics alone. But then let's talk about the actual interview with what Anne, I believe her name was Anne, was talking about. And I think Anne is the girl from IGN with the brown hair. I could be totally wrong. But, okay, so what Anne is basically saying is that a lot of her fears and worries have been pushed to the side. Real talk, I've never been worried. Once I saw the initial trailer with the companions and everybody complained about it, which was weird to me. Again, you're entitled to your opinion, and as I'm entitled to mine. I love that initial first trailer. I like the song. I have a whole video breaking it down. It'll be in the video description. Watch it at your leisure. When I saw that 20-minute gameplay footage, when we were first introduced to the Rogue Rook, actually, that kind of works. The Rogue Rook. I love it. But anywho, when we first saw that 20-minute gameplay footage, all of my concerns about it were gone. Now, understanding what Anna's saying at the end, this may be the hit that BioWare needs. We all know that BioWare, unfortunately, hasn't had a Dragon Age game in 10 years, and the other two games that were put out, Mass Effect Andromeda and its following Anthem, the two games didn't do very well. They weren't commercial successes. We get it, we understand it, and honestly, I think that's more of EA's doing than BioWare themselves, but because, you know, they have to answer to the powers that be. And I'm so glad that EA is taking a back seat. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're involved in something, but I'm glad it seems like BioWare is taking more of helm of the ship when it comes to the game. And I think, for me, I trust and believe in BioWare. I have zero, like, as some people would say, no notes. I'm very excited. A lot of things she said about the combat and it being very new user friendly, I agree with that. I understand, because it's been a 10-year gap and they need new blood. They need new, like, they already know Micah is gonna buy their product. They already know they got my money because I've already pre-ordered, okay? But outside of that, they are looking for people who have never played a game before, or may have played Origins or another game and said, hey, I remember this game, I want to come back to it. And you kind of have like those new fans. And if you are new to this game franchise, trust me when I say BioWare, the team there with Trick Weeks, Mary Kirby, David Gator, so many people, unfortunately, who are not there anymore, but some people who are still there are excellent writers. John Epler is one of their writers, and read To Venture Nights, read any of the auxiliary material. You don't have to, it's not a requirement, but if you just want to, trust me, these people know what the hell they're doing. They're so good at their job, and then the voice acting is so good, the storytelling is epic. So I know I'm gonna have a good time with Veilguard, regardless. And again, a lot of what she was talking about with the world and the world building. Also, they did this amazing thing on their website. If you go to www.dragonage.com, go under their news under the news stuff and you go under their blog section, you'll actually see the fly camera, because you also get that as well with the photo mode. And like right now you're seeing on screen, you actually get to see what the world looks like before you enter the world. And again, the sheer amount of love, you can feel it. Like I said in the last reaction I did, you can feel the passion. You can feel it. It feels good. It feels right. And I really mean it when I say that. And if I'm wrong, oh well, I'm wrong. But I think personally I'm not wrong. I think that this game will do extremely well. I love the fact that your background, but also your choices, what you say and what you do, it really matters. It has weight. And we all want our decisions to matter, you know. And the fact that you can tell BioWare was really listening to the consumers, us, about the complaints we had with Inquisition, the complaints we had with DA2, and what people had issues with or wanted back from Origins. You know, I like that she said, hey, anyone who's an Origin fan that wanted those dark and gritty things, we're getting them. And it goes back to, again, what the developers have been saying, that the game does have pretty dark and gritty moments, but also there's this current of positivity or optimism in it. And I love that. And the fact that the frescoes, the picture where you put the wolf statue and you get to see more of the gods, and you hear Elganon talking about this is the god protecting the god, or we're the gods the people need, and then Solus is like, we're not gods and you're gonna learn that. And you can actually see Solus had hair in the fresco, in the artwork, and I think that is so cool. Like the fact that we're gonna get, you know, a lot of us who theorize and have these theories and have created channels dedicated to this particular game franchise should tell you how good this world is, how awesome this world is, and how excited all of us are ready to be the Veilguard and protect all of Thedas from these incredible villains. And then what they said about Corypheus. Now I'm going to be honest with you, Corypheus was absent for a good chunk of the game. But whenever he was present, you felt the threat. You knew this was an enemy. You just couldn't just, oh yeah, let me pull out my sword and let's throw down. No, Corypheus felt like the threat he was, especially when he first appears on the scene, when he destroys your first place when you lose Haven. And the way he appears, he's so menacing. And then when you see him again in the Temple of Mythal, again, he seemed very, very menacing. And I'm excited to know that Gillenon and Elganon are going to be very present, and I'm excited about that. And although people say, oh, there's so many spoilers, there's so much they're spoiling, but honestly, the thing is, what are they not telling us? That's what we all should be saying. And for me, I don't mind the things that they're sharing with me, because these are kind of things that are kind of new from the beginning when it comes to the world and the theories. And then also they're like Kala Elizabeth and a whole bunch of other content creators, Wolfheart FPS, and Katie Gildatharin, I believe they all got an opportunity to go to a press screening. So they got to go to a press screening and see all the stuff behind the scenes and actually play the game. It was all over Twitter. That's why I'm not on Twitter anymore. I'm like, I don't want anyone to ruin anything for me. I'd rather watch, you know, content from IGN or from BioWare themselves than accidentally scroll and see something I'm not trying to see, or learn something I'm not trying to learn. You know, I'm only going to follow what's meant to be seen by the companies, because they put so much work into this. But anywho, these content creators have been able to see, and I believe on the 19th, it might be the day this video dropped, there are going to be a bunch of other content creators dropping what their experience is outside of IGN. And again, I'm really looking forward to Kala Elizabeth's and Katie Gildatharin and Wolfheart. I want to know what they think and how they felt about it. It's not going to change what I'm going to do, because I've already purchased the game, and it won't color my experience, but at least I'll know what their interpretation is, because remember, Katie as well as Kala were able to play the game, test it earlier, before the product is what we're going to get now. So again, I have no complaints. I'm just more and more excited. You know, again, next month this game will be out, and we'll be able to play it and experience it, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But anywho, what did you guys think? Did this put your concerns to rest about what IGN was saying? Are there new concerns? Like, what are your thoughts and feelings? I would love to hear them in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please remember to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I already told you about them comments. And if you do, remember to live, think, and dream big. Choose love over fear, and Asan will love you. And also, you can pet every animal in this game. Again, 10 out of 10 would recommend Game of the Year. And on that note, I'll see you on the flip side, and bye!